Better Habits. And I'm super excited because we have an amazing coach today, certified habit coach, who's been on the platform for a very long time. Arnaud, go ahead, hello, please introduce yourself, to our listeners.
Well, thank you for having me, Lydia. My name is Arnaud, and yeah, a very long time. It's true. I joined Coach Me during the pandemic, so it's been 4 years now, and I'm still. It's interesting. I'm still in the beginner mindset. I remember being one of the new coach there, and now you tell me that I've been here for a long time. So I guess I've upgraded. It's cool.
You
It's cool.
yes, you graduated. You graduated to our kind of
Woo!
the founding cohort or something like that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah, that's true because I was part of there was a new certification and I was part of the very first cohort. You're right. You're right. Yeah. So I coach productivity, communication, peace of mind, with a specific focus on entrepreneurs. And more recently, and I haven't updated my Coachdotme profile, but I'm going to do it soon, to dads. I decided to niche down to dads who want to be peaceful and productive. And so I'm very excited about that because that's my life. That's one of my strong suits. And yeah, and so I've been using CoachMe since 2020. I had a ton of clients through there. I forgot the exact number, to be honest. I still have active clients and I love them. And yeah, happy to be here and answer any questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have a ton of questions, and you do have it in your bio that, and I'm going to read it out. Unlock 3 extra hours daily. I want that. Double your team productivity. I want that. And claim super dad status with
Oh, okay.
CEO time freedom formula. I want a super mom status. So I have a ton of questions about that. But I want to start from the beginning. So you said you joined pandemic, you joined the first cohort of certified habit coach. Like what brought you, why did you do that? What brought you to habit coaching, to Coachdotme and the certification?
Yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't thought about it in a while. I was going through my ICF certification, so I was in really feel surrounded by coaches. And in one conversation there, I was like, well, but that's not possible. There must be a place online for coaches to connect with clients. It's like it's 2020, And so I looked around and I found Coach.me, and I was immediately surprised by the quality of the community of coaches, the quality of clients, and the quality of training. And not just, I mean, training as in coaching training, because coaching habits is a bit different than coaching on the phone. It's a nice complement to it. And also the marketing training. And so when the first cohort was offered, I was like, well, that's exactly what I need. And it was directly with Kendra, who since became the CEO of Coach.me. So like very high level person who I respect and love hugely. Um, and yeah, and that was fantastic. So yeah, 4 years already. Wow, time flies.
No, amazing, and thank you for pointing that out. That's exactly how we are today. We still have a very strong focus, not just on the coaching craft, but on the marketing part, because we think that that's important from day one to help coaches get clients and get practice. Because coaching is a craft, right? It's not, I know it's a science and art, but I think coaching is a craft. The more you do, the more you learn, the more feedback you get, the better you become. But I also love what you mentioned, and you're not the first one to mention that habit coaching, the chat-based accountability, we use this interchangeably, is a really great complement to your traditional coaching.
Yeah.
I think it's not a substitute, but it can be a start, or you can start with chat-based coaching, but eventually you will need to do both, financially, and if you want to kind of deeper, bigger, better results for your clients. But we see this very often when, ICF certified coaches come to us to get this as a really nice complementary certification and practice, and the entry points for the clients into your
Yeah.
coaching world. What
Yeah.
would you say?
Absolutely. Let me react to the last thing that you said, the entry point. When I'm in a sales conversation now with somebody, I typically start with the highest package because, no, that's not true. I adapt it based on the demand, but let's say the highest package that the person needs. Like if they need to revolutionize their company and train their whole team, I will pitch, my highest package. But then it's great to have those other levels. If maybe they cannot commit to the financial investment immediately, well, it's great to have another level. It's great to have another level. And I love that I have like the coaching, like the chat coaching package or habit coaching, which is super affordable and still brings value, because then I can add value to the person and I stay in that person's world. So 3 months after, 6 months after, when oh man, we have this crisis, we really need more help. Who are they going to, pick? Some random coach that they've never had any interaction with, or me, who's been helping them for months, and years in some instances. So it's a great tool from the point of view of the coaches to have this offer, that can be, as you were saying, either a starting point or a complement. Right now, I have two clients who are business owners. One of them is a dad, and the other is not a dad yet, but he's already in the dad mindset. And we have one call per month, and we have chat coaching 5 or 6 days per week. And the compliments, it complements so much. And I see them making progress because I'm every day in their pocket. Like, have you done the thing? How about this thing you said you were going to do? Oh, you've made it. High five. You haven't done it? What's going on there? And they get value and they tell me it's like this is amazing. And so they renew with me month after month and year after year for some of
Yeah.
them. So yeah, that's a great compliment indeed.
No, I love it. And a lot of our coaches have this hybrid package, and I love
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
also introducing it because I think, again, financially affordable and very effective. When you have calls, and sometimes it could be once per month or twice per month, right, with the daily, 5 to 6 days a week chat-based coaching, so being there for them,
Mm.
supporting, motivating, keeping them accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And again, the idea is to, eventually when they need it and when they're ready, to give them a deeper conversation, coaching for the team, for them. But I think, yeah, it's a great way. Well, let's switch gears because I wanna talk about what you do, what you coach on, because I really loved, and it's very I want to say unusual, like, it sparked my curiosity. So, kudos. Well done on formulating your profile, because I'm like, oh, I want to learn more. And I think that's what we're trying to get coaches to do, draft the bio and the packages so that it
Yes.
sparks curiosity and the question, well, what is it actually? I want to learn more. And I
Yeah.
think you achieved that. So, well done. So starting with the basics. So why productivity? How did you get into productivity?
Yeah.
What led you to that area?
Yeah. Thank you for the question and for the kind words. Before answering your question, I must say that Coachdotme really helped me to create this offer. I guess I don't remember exactly what my offer was when I joined, but it was something like, I help people do stuff. You know, so wasn't super specific. And like part of the marketing course of Coach.me and with the impulse of Kendra, I was like, yeah, oh, yeah, you help people do stuff, but which kind of people? And what are some of your unique thing that you can help people with? And and that's the place where productivity came from, because I realized that there are things that I do naturally that are super easy for me. I don't think about it at all. And people, they look at me like, you do this like that, like in terms of organization, creating system, batching activities. And the result is that then I'm typically very efficient and I do things much faster than others people doing the same thing. And that was true when I used to work in corporate. I used to do like an 8-hour shift in 2 or 3 hours, and then I had like 5 hours to prepare my side business.
Yeah, and I know many people wish they could do that. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah. And I must say, I mean, I was doing that, and I was still part of the top 5 performer of the team. So
Yeah,
it's not like I was stealing the company. I was doing the work. I was just doing it much more efficiently.
yeah.
And then when I made the transition to full-time entrepreneurship, I still had this natural habit of I want to front load the work so that then I can do everything faster. You know, when it comes to, because there are so many automating like things that we do over and over again, and I don't want to do them again. I want to prepare a system so that then I click a button and everything flows. And I do this through technology, through processes, and through people. And then, and so that was one part of my life. And the other part of my life was, oh man, I need to find a niche. Finding a niche is so difficult. Man, I wish I could find it.
And they were
And
parallel. They existed
they
in
were,
parallel, right? Never
yeah,
meeting each other.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, well, I used to be a musician. I should coach musicians. So I tried something around creativity. And at the same time, I was crushing it in productivity. And one day I was like, oh, productivity is a niche. And then from there, it's just evolved. I just focused on my favorite clients, and I was like, well, what do they have in common? He's a CEO, he's a business owner, he's a CEO, he's a business owner. Oh, okay, so maybe it's about by managing a team and how to delegate, how to use technology, and slowly I came to this realization. And yeah, the last piece that came recently was the dad part, because there are so many people who need help. I might as well focus on the people who I can relate to the most. So I can probably help a 25 years old who's like single and really want to crush it with their productivity. And there's probably another coach out there who can help that person more than me. But I'm the best person for the dad, because I understand what it means, to balance, to crush it at work, crush it in the business, but also be back at 5 or 6 and manage to switch and be with your kids and have fun, watch SpongeBob and do something together and be there, be there emotionally, not just physically. Right. So
Mhm.
that's how I came to this particular CEO time freedom formula.
Yeah. No, this is great. This is great. And I see that so often, because both through Coachdotme, I work with coaches, and in my own coaching practice, I
Yeah.
kind of, I still want to keep my coaching practice live because I want to be a plain coach, right? I don't want to become kind of this theoretical
Yeah.
person. I want to keep
Absolutely.
coaching because I love experimenting, and anything that I teach or coach on, I tried myself. So I keep my practice, and that's what I see. This is the biggest problem, because this is in the that's where everything starts. They just struggle to niche down, right? They
Yeah.
keep like, I'm helping everyone with
Yeah.
everything. Or they just pick something that, out of, like you said, out of the some sort of a formula, some sort of an idea in their mind, and there is something there that is much easier, that is much more natural. But just like in your case, it's a journey
Yeah.
often, and I think that's okay. We should, as coaches, we should embrace it, that it will take us some time to arrive at a point where it becomes obvious, which was not obvious,
Yeah.
just a couple of months ago.
Can I share something about that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think it can be helpful for coaches watching this, but also for anyone who's in a business and needs to niche down. And that actually comes from Kendra. Kendra told me that. Um, you don't want to start from a formula because then it becomes very theoretical and you can spend a lot of time and, oh yeah, I'm going to redo the
Yeah.
website for this part. And then
Overthinking.
you overthink
Overthinking.
it and then you bring it to market and nobody cares. So my fear back then, I told to Kendra, I was like, well, yeah, so I want to go this way, but I'm not quite sure. And she was like, 100 days experiments. So it's like, yeah, it's not a life and death decision. Like if you think that this is the way you could go, if you try it for 100 days, it's like those shops where you can order shoes or stuff online and you try them, and if it doesn't work, you give it back. So now the
Yeah.
guarantee is not like 2 weeks, it's like 3 months or 100 days, and that
Yep.
really gave me a lot of freedom to experiment. So I went into the creative thing and I was like, yeah, okay, let me go full on for 100 days. And I tried it and got some results, but didn't quite match. But I learned something. So then the next 100 days, I went into something different. So I think that was for creative entrepreneurs after that. It worked a little bit, but not fully. And, just 100 days and you do your experiment, you learn something and you move on. And for me, it removed a lot of anxiety of finding the right niche,
Yeah.
Yeah. So just wanted to share that
No,
in case that's
perfect.
helpful.
Absolutely. What I call it, look, choosing a niche is not a marriage decision. It's a dating
It's
decision,
a
right?
dating decision. Nice.
That's the metaphor I use to my coaches. I say, look, you see someone, it seems to be nice, a person, so you're ready to date, but you're not making a marriage decision.
Yeah.
You can date for 3 months. Let's use the 100 day and see. And if it works, okay, then another 3 months and another 3 months. But if it's not, that's okay. Say, hey, nice person, bye bye, and you
Next one.
date
Yeah.
again. And that's how in life it works with the marriage dating thing. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I want to get some wisdom, some nuggets from you about the productivity. I think it's relevant for everyone listening, for potential clients of ours, for coaches, right?
Yeah.
Productivity. I think it's like so you call it time freedom formula, CEO time freedom formula. Can you tell a little bit about it? What it
Sure.
is, how you
Sure.
arrived at it?
I can share some productivity tips that I don't hear many people sharing and
Yeah,
that can help a CEO, but also a coach or someone else listening. Would that be helpful?
absolutely.
Okay. So a productivity tips that I don't hear very much often is sleep, sleeping. But let me be precise with that. Because yeah, everyone knows like you need to sleep 7 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
What I remind people and what I practice in my own life is that the regular bedtime routine,
Mm.
which is by the way, a habit that we can get coached on Coachdotme,
Yeah.
is super important because if you go to bed at the same time every night, then you can predict the next day how you're going to feel. Because there is this thing called the circadian rhythm
Mhm.
that's then say that, okay, 6 hours after waking up, I feel focused. 12 hours after waking up, I feel meditative. 15 hours after waking up, I feel horny. 12 hours, whatever. And then you
Yeah.
can you can program your day based on that.
Mm.
And if you program it not based on that, then you try to be meditative when you're focused and energetic, then
Mm.
I can't meditate. I don't understand. I have so many thoughts.
It's
Well,
the in sync, not in sync,
it's not
right?
in sync. Exactly. Duh. In this moment, you want to use this creative energy to go out there and make it happen. And later, you want to go with the flow of your rhythm and meditate when it's meditation time. But if every night you change the time where you go to bed,
Mm.
then you cannot predict that. So I really love, I mean, for me, productivity is life. You know, productivity is a beautiful thing. I don't think about productivity as, you know, make as much stuff as I can as fast as possible. It's really a life philosophy for me. And that's why I call it peaceful productivity.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that a lot of people don't do is like go to bed every night at the same time or within the same 30-minute window, because we're not machines, right? Because then the next day you will know in advance, this is when I really need my coffee, or this is when I skip my coffee and I will relax. And then this is when I crush. And then when I do my sales calls, or this is when I'm going to have conversation with my team, because this is the part of my day where I'm 100% energized, you know? So that's one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall I share more?
Yeah, sure. Can we zoom in? Like you say, peaceful productivity. Why is peaceful? I was just curious. Why was this name?
Well, the honest answer to that is it came to me in the shower.
Okay,
Oh.
that's the best. That's where the best ideas come to us. Yeah. So.
I was back then, the first version was peaceful creativity. And then, you know, when
Mm,
after those series of 100 days, I was like, wow, you know what I'm really bringing to the world is peaceful productivity. And I think peaceful is really there to balance productivity because we're not machines. And, you know, with
mm,
we were talking about the pandemic earlier. We saw what happened when a workforce is pressed like a lemon and you know everybody burns out. And
yeah.
that's not good for the employee. That's not good for the CEO. That's not good for society. That's not good for the general well-being, you know, of the world. So I'm like, I don't want to be like I'm not part of the hustle culture.
Mhm.
I'm I want people to be productive. I want to be productive with the peace of mind, with the balance. So this is really those two complementary elements that's and I've
Right.
recently I've hired a coach because I believe in coaching, and I've hired a coach to help me with my YouTube project because I want
Right.
to, you know, I want to make progress on YouTube too. And we did a big work of introspection and looking into all the things that I can bring to the world, and that was great because the result was like, no, that's what you're already doing. It was a
Mm,
great validation, you know, because I can
mm.
talk about a million things, but no,
Yeah.
peaceful productivity for that, it's really what I'm after now. What I can where I can bring the most value.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. And I think again, I also there was a period where I was I call myself a productivity coach because I'm also in love with productivity, with my
Yeah.
big family and moving countries and whatever going on in this world where I live. You know, I have to stay very focused and make sure I do the work no matter what.
Yes.
But I think I love what you're doing because productivity, like many things in our world, got a bad rap, right? Like
Yeah.
a bad
It
reputation
does.
because a lot of people when they see productivity headline they think, oh my god, they want me to do more. I don't want to do
Mm,
more.
mm,
So
mm.
they, you know, this bad reputation got a lot of people saying, you know, I don't want to be productive,
Yes.
which is a pity, right? Which is a
Mm.
pity. So I think what you doing is kind of bringing the reputation back that productivity is not, you know, is not evil. Productivity is actually something, you call it peaceful productivity. I also love Cal Newport, who just issued the book Slow Productivity. And, you know, it's just a little bit different name, but I think the concepts that he's using, they're a little bit different from you, different angle, but also kind of to bring the reputation back to productivity, that it's not the word or the concept, is the
Yeah.
way we used to think about it. And, you know, he talks about natural rhythm. And that's exactly what you're talking,
Yes.
because it's
Yes. Yes. Yes.
that we're not machines and we need to be mindful and we need to have enough rest and we need to have enough family time. But and if we follow these natural rhythms, you know, it's going to help us a lot to do. Like, I'm amazed, but I've heard it from other people who, if they manage to understand the natural natural rhythm, they were able to do a lot of work in a much smaller
Yes.
time frame.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which brings me to, I mean, thank you for saying that. I'm going to check slow productivity after that, because one of the things I'm still making progress on is getting more aware of who's in my niche, like
Sure,
because I'm
sure.
focused on my clients, so I don't spend much time looking at, but it's always interesting
Jealous.
to yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, it's the other tip that I want to share regarding productivity is to eliminate before you delegate or automate. Because now, with AI, there are so many things that you can automate and you can do those beautiful things. And I do some of those, and that's magnificent. But you first want to look at the process and remove any parts that are not needed, because you don't want to optimize a bad process. So you are talking about doing less thing. Yes, absolutely. I want people, I want dads to crush it at home, crush it at work in half the time, in a third of the time, so that they can spend 3 more hours per day with their kids, with their wife, or with themselves, going on a walk, doing something that they enjoy, so that they can be a better force for good in the world. Right. So, and that starts with eliminating what is not needed in the process before you start to add all the cool, I'm going to hire someone to do that. I'm going to like build this Zapier automation connected with Make, connected to ChatGPT. Yeah, you can do that, but up like automate the process that needs to be done, not the one that doesn't need to be done.
No, 100%. Here's another name for you. Again, because I've been in this productivity space for a
Yeah, yeah.
long time now. Ari Maisel. I love Ari. Do you know Ari?
No.
He's a productivity guy. And it started with him very, in an unusual way. He got a Crohn's disease where
Oh,
he was not able to work more than a couple of hours a day. So he was pushed into this productivity kind of arena by the disease. So he had to spend a lot of time in the hospitals and just working out how to live with this autoimmune disease. So
yeah,
he had to make work in a very short time. So he was
yeah,
pushed, and he has great books, Do Less, Replaceable CEO, and one of his frameworks, I read his books, took some of his courses. His idea is exactly like you said, his formula: eliminate or optimize,
yeah.
automate, delegate, in that
Yes,
order. In
yes,
that order.
absolutely,
There you
absolutely.
go. So you see what you're saying is absolutely right. And because there is no need to spend money on to delegation or spend time and your brain power on automation, something that you actually don't really need.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's another productivity tip. All right. So uh let's another thing I wanted to ask. So probably my personal question: how do I switch off? Like you mentioned that, and it's really triggered me because I think sometimes I struggle to this day, to close my computer and then be with the family, kind of full me, and not still thinking of that launch strategy, still thinking about that kind of productivity framework or the workshop that I'm about
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
make. And some of my clients mentioned the same. I think for us business owners, entrepreneurs, like it's so hard to switch off, especially I work from home, so it's not even the change of environment. I just went go from one room to another.
Yes, yes.
So how, any advice on that? Because, you said this kind of switching off, shutting down. How do you do that? Any practical advice on that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there is the obvious one is like take a deep breath, do some meditation to transition
Mm.
from one state to the other. But let me give you maybe a less common one. Um, for me, it's the calendar. It's planning in advance. There are different colors, and maybe it's silly, but there are different color in my calendar, and I have like family time, and because it is in one of the strong colors in my calendar, I know that, okay, and I might finish like the most challenging coaching call or sales call. I'm like, oh, it's family time. And that helps me because it's planned in advance.
Mm.
That helps me to deconnect and to be like, oh, okay, oof. And I might even, and that's quite new actually, because okay, not to get into the details, but I had some change in my work life recently, which were very, very positive. And now I have much more clients to balance. And sometime I have like 2 hours of like 3 hours of coaching. Then I have the family time block. And then in the evening, I have 2 more clients. And
Mm.
because of this simple thing that it's in my calendar, family time, and that's planned in advance, my brain is like, this is important. This is family time. No need to worry about anything else. So just putting it in the calendar and treat your family, your husband, your wife, your kids as your $1 million clients. See, if it's in your calendar and you treat them as your $1 million client, you show up on time, you're focused on them, you listen to what they say, and you even have a good time speaking with them, or spending time with. Yeah. So that
Okay.
has helped me a lot. And then again, that's connected with what I was talking about earlier, regular bedtime. So I know I put this family time at a moment where I know that I will be in a good place to connect with others. And because I have this regular bedtime, it works every day.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Calendar is a good tool, and we leave it every day for our appointment, for this podcast recording, for my client calls. So
Yeah.
you have the family time there. You must, I guess I'm saying you must have your family time there, and that gives a primer
Yeah.
to the brain kind of to switch. So I'm gonna
Mm.
try that. Although I have
And
my shutdown routine, but that's not always working
yeah.
the way I want
And
it to work.
also I would say communicate it in advance with the member of your family so that they support you in that. Sometime I finish a sales call or I finish a coaching conversation, I go there and I'm like, yeah, I made the sale, or well, I didn't make the sale, but I rocked it anyway. Yeah. And they give me a high five. And it's like this transition. I mean, it's almost like a magic ritual, this transition. I'm showing them a little bit of my world. And then I go into theirs and they come into mine as well. And then we can, yeah, high five, awesome. So what do we do? SpongeBob. And that's just an example because we don't actually watch SpongeBob, but we would play a game or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah. So letting them know in advance so that they know, well, now Daddy is busy. Daddy is yes, he's in the next room, but we
Yeah.
shouldn't interrupt him. He is doing that. And then he's going to be with us because it is in the calendar. So it's the combination of
Okay.
those two things that I found really helpful for me and for many of my clients too.
No, it's good. It's good. Okay. One more question, and again, my personal kind
Yeah.
of interest. So hopefully the listeners will benefit from it.
Yeah. Let
These
me just
days.
let me just check quickly at what time is my next call. So yeah, so I have my next call is
That's
at
it.
11:30. So I just
No,
need to finish two
we'll be
minutes
done.
before that.
No, of course. We'll finish we'll finish it. So my question is, I love planning, and I have systems, and I use calendar, I use Notion, I use the, task management, all of that.
Yeah.
Right. But recently, my life became very hectic, right? Because of the situation here in Israel and with my daughter. Sometimes, there's someone taking care of her, but sometimes things don't go well. So I need to change plans because of something external or something internal happens. Yeah, and then your plan kind of your daily plan goes out of the window. What are some advice you give to people who live in this volatile, I guess, world? And I think these days, I think that happens to many of us. Like, we plan things and it looks very good on the calendar, in all our systems, and then something happens unexpectedly. And if it's like a rare event, that's okay. But what if it's like not so rare event? What is
Yeah,
like, your plans kind of day, not on a daily, but definitely on a weekly basis, just go out of the window where, you have to just rethink everything, reprioritize, and that takes time, energy, and a little bit of disappointment, right?
of course. Yeah,
Because we have
because you,
expectation, and then that doesn't happen. So we're emotional human beings. It's normal. Um,
yes,
and then we have to handle those emotions. We have to come down and then, rethink, replan. Any advice for people who live in a more volatile environment versus kind of more stable, predictable environment?
yeah, that's an excellent question. So let me answer it in steps. First step is being clear on the interruption in the distraction, because our mind reacts in fight or flight response, and sometimes that's appropriated. I know some of the story that you share that sometimes like there was a real life and death situation in your case in particular. So
Hmm.
that's one situation. But sometimes there is the trigger and our mind goes into the same place, and it's just that I don't know, the hairdresser needs to start 30 minutes later. But sometimes we get caught into that, and we're like, oh no, no, oh, I need to react to it right now. So the first thing is to be very clear on what's going on for real. And for that, being the master of your notification is important. So the way I do it is I have my notification off constantly, 24/7. The only way to reach me is to call me or to send me a text message.
Okay.
And I trained people and I blocked people who didn't respect that. So now I know if there's if my wife needs me for an emergency, I will hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
If my assistant needs me for an emergency, I will hear about it. And there are many other things that I would have considered an emergency that I see just 3 hours or 4 hours later because I set this system like that. And that's the way I want it.
Okay.
Because then again, I can connect that with my rhythm, with my circadian rhythm, and take care of emergency when I'm calm and I'm ready to look at them. Right. So, for example, um, it happens like so. I have two assistants working for me, and one of them wants to renegotiate her salary now, and I don't have a lot of time to dedicate to this, but I like her. She's a good assistant. She's doing a good work, and I want to respect her output. If I check her message at the end of my long day when I'm tired, I will interpret it badly and I will go into emergency mode. I need to solve this right now. Oh shit, so I don't know how much do I pay her. What I do, because I don't have notification, I see it in the morning when I'm refreshed, when I'm focused, and I'm like, okay, understand. Let's find out more about what she wants, what I can offer, and let's find a middle ground. So
Okay.
that's transitioning something that's could have been interpreted as an emergency as just another task. So relating to that, another technique that I use for that is to capture everything on paper. Capture everything in one place.
Mm.
Because how many times do I receive an email that's disguised as an emergency? Oh my God, I need to react to this email right now. I don't react to it immediately. I turn it into a task in my task list. And the next day when I look at that, and I'm like, well, actually, my assistant can do it. Or actually, they just want to send me something. I don't need that, and sometimes I get to eliminate before I even have to deal with that.
Right.
So now when there's a real emergency,
Yep.
yeah, then you just got to go do what you need to do. Like if your life is in danger, if your loved one's life is in danger, then you just modify your plan and you embrace the uncertainty of life. And that might be a disappointing answer, but I think there is a lot of emergencies which are fake emergencies.
Mm.
And even for the real emergencies, some of them might happen as a pattern, meaning that if 5 times, 4 weeks in a row, there was this emergency that made that such and such meeting didn't finish at, for example, I had a client, important client, been renewing with me for years, and like 3 weeks in a row or 3 sessions in a row, we were supposed to start at 11, always came at 11:15. Right? So he lose 15 minutes of his session every time. But then after the third time, I'm like, well, maybe we move the beginning of the session at 11:15. And I was like, oh, thank you. Oh, such a great idea. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a genius. And so we just recognize the pattern
Okay.
of something, because then you get a little bit more control over it.
Okay. Love it. No, all you're saying is right. I think we do sometimes consider emergency what it's not, and it depends on our state and our ability to assess it. My notifications are off as well. I don't check I don't have the popping up email, new message, new WhatsApp. No, no, no. This is like triple no ever.
Yes.
So, and then I love what you say, that if something happens again and again, like emergencies shouldn't be happening again and again. Well, again, unless it's
Yes.
a missile attack siren, okay, that we can't control. But then if something happens on a regular basis, then the question is like, what's wrong with the system, right?
Yes. Amen
Like,
to that. Yes.
what's wrong with the process, what's wrong with the system that needs to change, and that requires effort. Again, understandably, you need to dedicate time to change the system. Sometimes it's just moving the call 15 minutes. That's an easy answer, but sometimes it just requires something else, right? Set up a new process, find a new person. Sometimes that's that.
Yeah. Yes.
But then, yeah, it will help you. No, thank you. I think this very thoughtful answer.
Can I just add something on this particular
Absolutely.
topic?
Absolutely.
Like there is also the macro decisions regarding the real emergency. Like if your house is by the sea and there was 3 floods in the last 2 years and you've been reconstructed, then maybe you move
That
house,
is true.
at some point,
That is true.
And I know that's easier said than done, right? And
No,
changing
but you're
country
right.
is
No.
but that's
Changing
also a
country.
decision. Yeah, that's a decision people can make as well. I live in the Czech Republic, which is so far, a very stable country, and that's also by choice. People
Yeah.
ask me all the time, "You're French. Why don't you go back to France? It's so beautiful with the cheese and stuff." I'm like, because I hate it there. It sucks. It's like the system are. I mean, there's no emergency. I mean, we have terrorist attack from time to time, but like the system is not conducive to the lifestyle that I want to have. Here, things flow, administration works, people are kind and nice, and that's more as my choice to stay here with my family.
Love it. Again, and I have these macro decisions made, and actually I'm doing the long-term plan, how to change my situation, so I don't have that much that many emergencies. And again, I want to refer back to Cal Newport, who promotes the lifestyle based planning, the long-term lifestyle based planning. So ask yourself, in 5 years, in 10 years, what is the life that you want? And that's exactly what you said. A calm life, no emergency, no. And go from there. So what do you need to do today to get there in 5 years and 10 years? Lifestyle based planning, long-term. That's a solution. So thank you for that. So let's wrap up. How can people find you best? Well, obviously there will be Coachdotme, your profile, Coachdotme in the show notes, everywhere on YouTube, on a blog, Spotify, everywhere. What is the best way to connect if they want to just chat with you? Like what social media, I guess, is the best to do that?
I don't use social media much lately. So
YouTube?
I mean, yeah, YouTube. Yeah,
There we
YouTube.
go. I
YouTube
consider
comments.
YouTube social media. That's okay.
Yeah. But again, I need to update my profile there because there's still Instagram and I don't go there much. Yeah, youtube.com /@ArnaudCZ. So my name. or
Yeah.
coachdotme.com/Arnaud.
Yeah.
And that's a great place to connect with me. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Great conversation. A lot of good, wisdom on the productivity space. And I just invite our listeners, if they're clients, go ahead and check Arnaud's profile, see and start with the very affordable and very effective chat-based coaching. That's a really good way to enter the coaching world. And if you're coaches, join Coachdotme as a coach, join our LinkedIn community, and we'll be glad to have you. Again, thank you, Arnaud.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the great recommendation in the productivity space. And I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, see you next week. Bye-bye.